race 8. In today's ninth and final race, note that number 3, number 1, Dylan, is 1 pound over. And we have these scratches. Scratch 4, Macho Boy. 6, Lookout JC. 14, Box of Rain. 15, Beta. And 16, Daithi. In the ninth, scratch numbers 4, 6, 14, 15, and 16. Main track fast. Empire 6 jackpot carryover of more than $34,000. We'll be back at 1:05 to reprise the changes. Today's first race post is at 1:30. Up next, it's Talking Horses with Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile.
kick off another 3-day week here at the Big A. It's Gotham weekend. A lot of good stuff going on this weekend. My man, Anthony Stabile, is to my left. We'll be talking about today's 9-race card in just a moment. You, on the other hand, you know the drill. If you're not a member of NYRA Bets, if you haven't joined by now, why? What's wrong with you? Get over there. NYRABets.com. Promo code Big A will match up a $200 deposit bonus, and you can enjoy all the many wonderful things that NYRA Bets has to offer, like a 20% winner's bonus in the early pick 4 today. I know you're all over that, Anthony. I've been playing as well, unsuccessfully, but I've been playing it nonetheless. That's on Fridays here at the Big A. Also want to remind people, a sensational cross-country Big 5 tomorrow, and it really is. We taped a handicapping video this morning. I went through all the races in the sequence, and a lot of times you're looking, I don't know, look at these races. I actually wanted to do this video, Anthony, just to take a look at some of these races, and I know you've looked as well. And if we have a minute at the end of the show, which is in dispute, well, we'll get some opinions from you for those races. The video should be out shortly, though. Went through those races. That's starting at Tampa, 2 at Aqueduct, and closing out with the Honeybee. All stakes, 4 graded. Also want to remind people, a lot of those races will be on from 5:30 to 7 Eastern time. Fox Sports 2 tomorrow. Tampa Bay Derby, Gotham, San Felipe, a fun race as well. Good action there this weekend. And as promised, you're here, the man.
You don't even need to talk to me about those races because they could just go listen to the weekend stakes preview presented by NYRA Bets tonight at 6, Sirius 219, XM201. Steve Grabowski and I, 14 stakes. Every single one in that cross-country pick 5. So
Steve's got a good opinion.
Steve's got a great opinion. Yeah,
terrific guy, but he's also got a very good opinion. He's a sharp guy.
He had a $54 NYRA Bets best bet a couple of months back. Yes, sir. And
no, I respect Steve. He did good work with the racing form.
Fantastic.
He worked for them. I agree. Steve really knows his stuff, and look forward to that as well. But let's get to working today. As I said, if we happen to have a few minutes at the end of the show, we'll talk about some of those races. You and I quite briefly. It'll be tough. We'll try to do it tomorrow as well. Race number 1. I want to go back and look at the last quarter of the Lightning Rod timing race. And I'm not denying a first-time starter timing who draws inside here. It's funny, Danny Gargan probably said, so I drew outside when they were going 2 turns. Now I got to draw inside when we're going a mile. And I think that Lightning Rob benefits from the draw outside. Not that the post is a big problem. Timing ran fine in here. But Lightning Rob, I think, ran a lot better than people realize because it was not a good race. Nobody here is going to tell you this was a great race. But Lightning Rob ran a much better figure when he was going the flat mile time before that. And you can see him between horses running here. And we're going to show you the head on the stretch, Anthony. And the head on the stretch is going to tell a very interesting tale because Lightning Rob, I believe very strongly, if he wasn't bounced around, it was not Timing's fault. And Timing was hurted too.
Yeah.
But the horse inside of him with those reddish silks and the blue cap, and you see the rider hitting lefty. Funny silks, makes him look like he's riding bare arms, right? He's going to come out dramatically into Lightning Rob, who probably should have won this race.
If not once, but twice.
Yeah.
And you got to think of if neither happen, he's going to win. He probably gets away with getting the money if one of the incidents doesn't happen. He was best. He was best that day. I think you could definitively say he was best. Sometimes these things are up for conjecture. Not that day. That day, Lightning Rob was absolutely best. But like you said, I think you have to question the overall quality of the race that afternoon.
And there are new players today.
And there's new players today.
And also, to be fair, Timing was making his debut going 9 furlongs, so he has a right to move forward as well. I preferred Lightning Rob. We'll see what the prices bear out, but there are other horses in here, and Icy Dude is one of them for Linda Rice. And, I'm not going to show the whole race. If you're interested, not a bad idea. And by the way, one of the greatest features about NYRA Bets, we have all of the replays for every single track, including Europe. And I use that NYRA Bets thing every single day to look up replays, tracks, because this horse, and you see him in the blue there, those drawing away silks, he was lost contact with the field on the backstretch. But I don't know, is he flying or is the race falling apart? But this horse was absolutely losing contact with the field earlier. It wasn't Cintron's fault. He gets Jose Lezcano. My problem is, I just don't know if this was a very good race.
No, it probably was. Listen, they're running for $25,000 maiden tag, so the odds are they're not very good races. That horse was finishing.
Yeah, I like him more than Lost in Rome, the 6, because they have very similar running lines. I think Lost in Rome's coming out of a weaker field, but it was slop, you don't know. And you've got Hostile Witness on top, who I've got second, and he just seems like a very logical horse in this race.
Yeah, if you don't want the horses coming out of that race with Timing and Lightning Rob, he is the one for you. He's a fresh gelding. He's getting back to the mile. His best race was at the mile 2 starts back, I think, anyway. And I just want him as a little bit of a different face.
I'm not sure he's not supposed to be favored here.
He could be. You know, it depends on what they do because
I'm not saying he will be, and I'm not knocking Dave's line.
No, right. The money from the June 23rd race is going to get split between Timing and Lightning Rob, right? Because people are going to assume that Timing's going to get a little bit better, and Lightning Rob should have won last time. Linda's horses, the number 3 ICD.
It depends how much money he takes.
It depends how much money he takes.
Right.
I can see the 4 of them being a point and a half apart. 5 to 2 to 4 to 1, 2 to 1 to 7 to 2.
3 to 1 to 4 to 1. Yeah. I don't disagree with you. They all feel like relatively similar chances. And I agree with you about Hostile Witness. I think he's a major player as well. Race number 2. Race number 2 was not one of the 3. I had 3 top picks scratched today. You had 1. I had 3.
Yeah.
Sergeant Drive coming out, I think, does bother. Listen, nobody's going to tell you that Bears Mafia isn't legit here. Fortunately for us, unfortunately for Linda, the rain they had talked about coming, there are going to be supposed to be some showers today.
A little later on,
I don't really think that anything's going to be dramatically affected even later in the day. So I think that's good news for today and for tomorrow, Gotham Day
Certainly
as well.
For tomorrow. Yeah.
He ran off. Now, how much of it was the wet track? Because it's not as though he's that slow in his other races. And listen, Drawing Away and Linda claim this horse, and Linda and Drawing Away, both together and independently, are having sensational meets.
They are.
To say the
I
least.
feel like Linda's barn's cooled off a little bit the last couple of weeks.
You can't win with all of them, and you lose
right.
conditions and stuff. Now, Linda off the claim with dirt routers. Anthony, those are sensational numbers.
They are. They absolutely are. And if this horse runs one of his A races,
he's probably going to win.
Going to beat this field, and he's going to beat them pretty handily.
I don't know what to do with your horse, Somebody.
This
You're
is
nobody
kind of
until
like,
somebody loves you.
This
You know
is,
that, Anthony?
I do know that.
What's that from?
That's I spent
Like
a
a
few
show tune or
different
something?
movies. It's been in a few different movies. Yeah. I'm a Dean Martin. That's the Dean Martin version. There's been like a half a dozen versions. I'm a big Dean Martin version. Anyway,
I digress.
I'll give him one more chance. He comes out of that creative style race where there probably wasn't a horse on the grounds that was going to be creative style that day. Do I like the fact that he...
Well, he was over his head last time.
He was in over his head. He didn't really show any kind of effort. But you know what? He gets that race out of the way. If he comes back to the 16-2 life effort, he's going to be right there today. And I think in a race where this entry is going to take a ton of money, you're probably going to get that 8-1 that David has him on the morning line. I think he offers a little value. I'll use a handful in here, but I'll make him the top pick.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the entry is going to be a very short price in here. So you can't help but get 4-1 or higher. And I'm not saying it's going to be 4-1 on anybody else you want here. And the entry at this point, and I don't think any of us particularly like purchasing power, they're going to be very short. I am very interested in the number 6 horse, Local Edition.
You liked him last time.
Well, he was second off a layoff, and he has races that are good enough to beat anybody but the favorite.
He sure does.
And I'm not saying he's supposed to beat the favorite, because if Bears Mafia runs his race, he's going to win. I'm not. But he's still not that good, and I'll tell you something. Do you really feel as though a mile helps Bears Mafia? See, I think he's run okay, but I wonder if he's a little better going a bit shorter.
I agree.
I don't think it helps him. I'll put it that way. I don't know that he's not going to run well, but I don't think it's benefit.
He almost has a little bit of like a Tapazirance feel to him, right? That he can win, but I don't know about the mile.
Well, they knew Tapazirance wasn't going to lose. Local Edition's last race is actually not that bad. First of all, the rail right down the inside may not have been the best place to be. And he spent the vast majority of the race right down on the inside. You look at his running line, let's remember something about that race. Anthony, that pace completely incinerated in there. He was chasing just a couple of lengths behind it, and he actually wasn't on empty in the stretch while racing on the worst part of the racetrack. This is a significant rider change, with all due respect to Junior Alvarado. And I think it's very interesting to see Junior on this horse. I think you're going to get a good effort by Local Edition today. And if you look at all the others outside the favorite.
No, you can poke
throw
holes
them up in the air.
You can poke holes in all of them.
Right.
And your horse is going to be, I think Vineyard Sound will probably be a little bit higher than him, but I mean, you're looking at that. We're splitting hairs here. You're going to be 12-15 to 1.
Yeah, I don't like Vineyard Sound.
Even I don't like Vineyard Sound today.
The sloppy track and not good stretch out numbers from the Toscano barn. We'll see what happens in race number 2, as I have the usual frog in my throat. Race number 3, yes, I liked my big boy Mo. Pat Quick probably saw that. Went right there and said, I can't run today. Talk about Freudian fate, because David Aragon and I were debating him last night, because I know David likes him as well. And I have some reservations while totally agreeing he's in some ways the horse to beat.
Yeah, 2 starts back, he was against the track when Bulwark got to the lead from the inside and protected position that day. And then last time, you know...
He was on the inside that day too, though, Anth. He didn't move off until late in there. He didn't chase 3 wide.
No, I know,
he
but...
spent a lot of time inside.
He did, but he also, you know, I feel like, and you and I had talked about this, that I don't know if you remember having the conversation, we didn't know if it was the inside the whole way around or just in the stretch.
I agree.
And I really feel like it was probably more from the quarter pole home, and that's when he vacated the inside and had to do his heavy lifting while 3 wide. I got to be honest with you, Andy.
What do you think of his last race, though? Because this is what Dave and I were debating.
I don't love his last.
Let me talk about his last race a little bit. He breaks about 3/4 slow. And then he ducked in at the start, and in my opinion, and he was very rank on Manny in the backstretch. I'm not sure, though, he wasn't causing his own problems in there. And the way he ran, I'm not convinced that he's a horse that's just becoming a bit of a problem, because he ran well, but I feel like his form is declining in his last few starts. If he runs straight in here and he doesn't break badly, he doesn't break in, and Manny can ride him, or Jose Lozcano's on him today, I have no argument he's probably going to win. But I don't trust. I got some reservations. You know, I can see both sides of the argument. That's my point.
I made my decisions in here based on the fact that, and this might be just too simple of a way to look at this race. Hot Brown and Big Boy Mo, before he scratched, both skipped the last one of these. That both Freudian Fate and Kid Doro ran.
Is that bad or good?
Well, off of the way Hot Brown ran,
it's probably good.
I think it's bad.
See, I think he might maybe he was sick last week.
Yeah, okay.
He's also the speed here. Isn't Manny supposed to go with him in this race?
Yes.
I agree. I don't trust him off his last, but he runs his 2 and 3 back races. He's going to win this race.
No question about it.
And Kid Doro, I know he improved. Listen, Kid Doro can win because he improved for a very good trainer, for Jason Service. He also got a dream trip in that race, and it was such an improvement. The question is, did he just get the trip and he's improving a bit, or is he a horse going to take another step forward? I don't totally trust him, and I think Hot Brown, I preferred Big Boy Mo, but I'm fine with Hot Brown as my other horse in this race. I'm going to hope just something went wrong in his last effort.
Okay. Fair enough.
But
he's going to be listen, he's going to be the controlling speed in a race where Freudian Fate is not the... You know, it looks.
I just don't trust Freudian Fate.
I know what you mean.
He can win. I'm just.
And so could Kid Doro, but you feel like that maybe just having that tactical advantage is enough to get the diploma today.
Race number 4. Race number 4. I will absolutely tell you I copped out. I find this race to be a gigantic headache in here.
Blinkers off. It's a late change if you got it.
I know Wisconsin Knight ran horribly last time. I just want him to go to the front and wire this field. I thought Teletype's last race was atrocious. So is Wisconsin Knight. I don't blame people for taking a chance against him, though I do think the guy next to me probably needs a brain scan.
Well, what do you think about the blinkers off Wisconsin Knight? Isn't it kind of counterintuitive to trying to bottom out the field?
Well, you can't stop this horse from being the speed.
I guess not. Listen, I didn't want the usual suspects in here.
I don't blame you. I don't love them. And I know that there's the case for Barbara P. and the Jimmy Ferraro barn has been going very well, and he did win a couple of races with Heeman Harkey. That doesn't make him a good rider, and I get that she's had some trips, and I guess I'd put her on my ticket somewhere, just as I would put Kinky Socks, because let me tell you something, Kinky Socks is getting a substantial rider upgrade here at Eric Cancel, who's having a fabulous meet, and I know she isn't very good in the dirt, but her last race wasn't so bad that I wouldn't give her a bit of a chance in this race at a price. So she and the 5 or more of my long shot plays. Listen, I'm not knocking a 50-to-1 shot, and I know she has one race in the dirt.
One race, it was off a 10-month break. I'm taking one little swing in here. I'll use 4 or 5 horses in the pick 4 and the pick 5, but I just wanted to take a little bit of an outside of the box. These are the kind of races where if you don't like Wisconsin Knight and Teletype, and I obviously...
Well, they're impossible to like.
I got to take a little swing with a kooky horse.
I didn't feel like I was going to bet anybody in here. So I didn't pick against the favorites, but I understand the reservations. It is a complicated race because there's just nobody that looks really any good, good enough to beat them if one of them shows up at all. But both horses just aren't very good. And Teletype was brutal last time.
This is the filly I picked on top. I'm going to bet $10 on her at 40 to 1. Use her in some pick 4s and pick 5s and hope and pray she gets the money.
Race number 5, which ends the early pick 4 as well as the early pick 5, but also starts out the late pick 5 as well. And neither one of us are trying to beat Amos. I am a little bit sick of Amos. I talked to Tom Amos the other day, by the way. Great to hear from him.
I keep getting told by the owners that this horse's name is Amos.
Amos, who cares? Add another S.
People care, man.
Let's add another S. What is this Amos?
I don't know what to tell you. No, Amos would be with the S because you're calling her Amos like Tom.
Amos, the name Amos is pronounced Amos.
Right, like Amos and Andy.
Tom Amos is the one whose family can't spell.
That was him, Tom. It was not me.
I can't help it. Tom's my main man. Second off a layoff. But I will say one thing about this horse. She's not that reliable because she's lost some races she should have won.
She's running out of chances.
She ran very well in that Princess Pinky race. She should have won on June 20th, the famous race that we used to do in the car. She's the worst to beat. The problem is spin your partner, okay? I'm going to tell you right now. The number 2 spin your partner, to me, looks like Arnaud Delacour shipping a New York bred up here and saying, turf season starting in a month. Let's take a shot and see if she can run in the dirt. Yep. But let's get a horse who's a half to some very nice horses in the turf. The Dam was a good turf horse. Let's get this horse back onto the dirt.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just the lack of...
What's that horse? Conquest Hard Candy. It's supposed to have to Conquest Hard Candy.
Yeah, that's the horse that bounces back and forth between New York and Florida. I think Antonio Sano trains her down in South Florida.
Yeah, and,
she won up in Saratoga 2 summers ago. You liked it when she won.
That was the day
Tyler Gaffalione.
Chad Brown had one of those horses I don't like in the race, and I watched the race with Chad. I didn't say anything, and after Conquest Hard Candy won, he said to me, I can't believe how did this horse beat me? I said, I don't know, I picked her.
Of course you did.
It's one of my few winners.
Yeah.
I just don't trust the 2 on the dirt. And, you look through, Dancing Slipper's a little slow.
Yeah.
The interesting horse is Deep Space. I'm surprised you don't have Deep Space higher in here because Deep Space doesn't look. Do you remember this horse?
I don't.
Do you notice this horse cost $750,000? You think Eric and Reed Kay spent $750,000 for this horse? It's a Juddmonte horse. This horse debuted in that crazy, nasty affair race. Didn't get bet a nickel. Didn't run a step. Then they tried synthetic. I think the horse sold for about $40,000, $42,000 or something. David Aragon was writing about it.
At the sale?
At the sale back in November. They're taking a shot. I can't blame them in here. Blinkers on. I had to
pick this horse in Saratoga, right?
Juddmonte and Bill Mott?
Yeah.
There's no chance.
No question I didn't pick this horse.
Best bet of the day. You had to lose at least $200.
You know where Spin Your Partner's from, right? It's a square dancing thing.
You a big square dancer?
Do you know the...
Do you have any video of you square dancing?
No, but hold on.
That could be...
But in 6th grade, I did call the square dance at PS207.
Really?
That's a true story.
You know what
Harry Rosenblum, the original owner of Whitmore. He owned Far Right. Harry has horses. Harry did some of it in Little Rock. Yeah. Tom had done.
So he's a bad judge of trainers, but he's had some horses.
Harry had done some announcing in Little Rock, and he gave me a couple of moves back when I was 12 years old. Yeah.
Calling square dancing.
Yep.
Prerequisite to your race calling.
Spin your partner round and round.
There's a rumor going around you're going to be calling a race at Yonkers very soon.
That rumor is true, Monday night.
You got to make sure I'm aware of that.
I will.
Because I have no life up. Oh. I'm going to a movie at like 9:15 on Monday. I won't.
I'll try. They're gonna let me.
I can watch the replays on Ira Bets.
10 times the points. I took advantage of that Monday night too.
I hear you had a big opinion, big score.
We had a nice little night.
Yes, we did. You had to pick 5. You're the man. He's covering. He's crushing lately.
We had a nice night.
You've been on a monster run.
We had a nice night.
Race number 6. We both like Punk Rock Princess. The connection saw that we both picked her and said, we're going to ship her up from Maryland to run with these 2 idiots are picking our horse. So we can't blame them for that. We end up still with the same picks in this race. Rude Awakening, I think Rude Awakening is the horse to beat. The problem with her, she's just not that fast. Why did you pick We Don't Believe Her? She's obviously going to be a lower price with a scratch. I never agree with David she would be this high. I always thought she'd be a narrow third choice in here.
She's got to be shorter than this.
Well, with the scratches, she becomes a second choice.
Yeah, but I didn't think she'd be.
I didn't think she would be a similar price to Left Lean Lucy.
No. Oh, no, absolutely not. Yeah, I
didn't.
mean, she's outside. She's getting up. Rudy's going to put the blinkers on now. She ran her blinkers one time. Obviously, Rudy's seen something that he wants to put the blinkers back on. She cuts back from the 7 to the 6. And
I don't think she ran that badly last time. I
No, I
actually
don't
thought her
either, but
last
I
race
just-
was a big improvement first
you
time
don't
for
think
Rudy.
the drop in the cut back in distance is going to help her a little bit?
Well, I don't worry about that as much as you do. I think she just got involved in the pace with Glass Ceiling and Officer Hutchie, and they're better horses.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. I don't have a knock on Rude Awakening, and at this point with the scratches, one of them's supposed to win. The important one, I will tell you that Wesley Ward, I didn't put up the stats, but Wesley Ward has very good numbers at Naira with horses off of maiden wins, even in their second starts. The majority of them, though, were 2-year-olds going into stakes. So this is different, and this was not a very strong field this horse comes out of. But I do think she ran okay, and she ran like a horse that could improve second time out.
Yeah, took her back to Turfway after the win.
Well, he doesn't have horses here.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
Wesley Ward's horses actually, he's got like 20 vans.
They live in the
and they're
sphere.
just
They live in the
they're not
sphere.
stable anywhere. They're just driving around aimlessly, and occasionally they stop off and Wesley works them somewhere. But
They
they're
stop
just
at trailer
they're on
parks.
like a track following racetracks around
it's
the
like
country.
the equine version of National Lampoon's Vacation.
Right, he should win some sort of Eclipse Award every year for the most racetracks any one trader's been running at, especially not being stable there.
The important one actually just came back from seeing the biggest bowl of yarn in America on the way back from Turfway.
Who did?
The important
Oh,
one.
the biggest.
Yeah. It's from Vacation, remember? From
I know
Vacation.
about that. Yeah, okay. Well, I will say she ran okay. Dylan was after her the whole way that day. She could improve. We'll see what happens in race number 6. Race number 7. I didn't go back to Family Biz. I wanted to, but I thought you'd yell at me if I did. Promo code and starting point just finished so far ahead of him. Maybe a drier track today will help his chances. I guess one of these horses. I don't love either one of these. I don't know, man. I don't know. They're both right to be dropping because this was a modified 50.
So I'd let the fact that I would have to imagine that promo code is going to be on the lead today.
I forgot to put the the pace projector.
That's okay. I have to imagine that after the runaway speed last, I just imagine this horse is going to be on the lead today. I think that might be enough in here. I know you yell at me when I say things like that, but I don't really want somebody's horse. Well, I don't want. I don't know if I really want a horse like Starting Point, who's probably going to be the favorite in here, actually have to pass. Now, maybe Manny Franco has the same idea, and Manny Franco gets aggressive and puts Starting Point on the lead. I'm not confident Starting Point is going to pass horses. I'm just not. And I think
if he passed horses 2 races back, Ant. But he did.
But did he really?
Yeah, he actually really did.
He was a half.
No, he was a length and a half off
the whole
earlier.
time, weren't
he
they?
was a length and a half off. No, I don't agree with that. Just as I don't agree that horses that don't win rating can be said to be able to rate. He has shown that he can pass horses. I mean, last time out, didn't he just sort of lose to proven reserves?
I mean, that was some bunch he beat two starts back, too.
I'm not sure why you're so. See, you've got Vintage Hollywood second. How could you possibly take Vintage Hollywood off his last race?
Listen,
the Nota
Barn's been hot.
They don't have wins. They don't win that many races off claims.
They don't. No, they don't. No, we've talked about that.
This is a significant, and they also claim this horse from Gary Gullo.
Yeah.
I mean, this horse. I remember thinking there was a herding in that race. There was no herding in that race. This horse stunk last time.
He hung on him.
He's got a lot, and there's a reason he's got 5 seconds. I don't like this horse at all.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with Starting Point and promo code. They are the horses to beat in here. It's not a big argument. I actually thought Spectator's Sport was a better one, but Linda scratched him late, by the way, as usual, Linda. Late blinker change, late scratches. Let me ask you a question. You don't have Later Cat in here at all?
He ran so well last time.
Okay, so why wouldn't he come back and run well today for a barn that's firing on all cylinders?
The barn is firing, and the barn is going very, very well. I have to imagine that this horse has to take a step back off that last race.
Why?
I just do. I mean, this horse, he engaged Jerome Avenue.
Just a faster race. Jerome Avenue ran an amazing race with a ridiculous trip last time off the claim. He didn't win, but he should have won.
Yeah. I don't like this horse. I know you do. I don't like this horse today.
I don't love the 1 and 3. That's why I picked this horse.
That's fine.
And I couldn't pick Family Biz again. I could spread in here. Listen, my spread could include Local Counsel. I don't know if he's good enough. I don't know if he can run it all anymore. this was taking a serious drop in company. This was running against horses who would run circles around these. Having said that, last time out was a fast pace that collapsed, and he still did no running. That's why I couldn't put him higher. I desperately searched for a way to make a case for him because he has back form that would smash these horses. So, smash him, but certainly makes him competitive.
He has a handful of races that make him very, very competitive in here. We'll see what the equipment change does. Romero Mirage
Romero's been riding well. He's been a good job coming here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
you see, that might be the key
First
today.
guy you saw him coming in.
I was hanging out with his mom and his girlfriend today. Wow. She gave him the 25-cent tour at a Big A.
Does Rajiv
this
know?
morning? Oh, Rajiv.
What are we going to do in Saratoga without Rajiv? Race number 8. We lost 2 players. They will be running in the Tom Fool over the weekend in here, and we'll start out with Chateau and Vorticity.
Do we have to?
I am curious about Chateau. He might be about as fast a horse early as there is in the country. Woe is the horse that runs with him early. Jason Service knows this race is 6.5 furlongs. And Jason Service is not a stupid man. You don't win the way Jason does without understanding this. And Mike Dubb as well. And both of them are running this horse going 6.5. I don't love him, but a horse as good as he is, you have to be scared about. But man, getting 6.5 is going to be tough. But I have to use him. He's too good not to use.
I agree.
And I don't like Vorticity. I bet him last time.
So did I.
Junior gave him a sensational ride. Junior's not back aboard. He can't get a better setup than he got last time, and the field got tougher. This is a tougher bunch. He was supposed to win last time. He was turning back last time. I don't like him at all. I am scared of Chateau.
Now, you can argue that maybe the extra half a furlong helps Vorticity and hurts Chateau, right? Because you just said they're looking, and I guess you could argue that. I tend to agree with you in here. I want to use the 3, 6, and 10. I want to try and get through the race.
Let's look at Identity Politics, his last race, because he did run well in there. He beat Mr. Dougie Fresh, because this wasn't a particularly quick pace. He didn't have a fast pace the way he's going to get with Chateau.
Right.
And I'll tell you something about Identity Politics. Okay, I understand he's got 6 seconds. Some say he's a bit of a phony. He ran second to Malibu. He didn't run back to that. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I think shorter is better for this horse.
I do too.
I even wonder if 6, 6.5 is what he wants.
I do too.
And this is the kind of horse. One thing about him is he shows up. I thought he ran very well in this race.
Yeah, and he's, like you said, didn't get a pace like he's projected to get
This race was basically dominated towards the front end.
Yeah,
Jovia had all the run of the race.
And Jovia had a great trip.
All the run of the race.
Trip.
Yep.
Winds up a length better at the end.
Not that he had a bad trip, Identity, but he didn't have the run of the race the way Jovia did.
He didn't have a dream run like Jovia did. And I think we found something out about Identity Politics last time. You can't get lazy. I'm not accusing anybody. You have to ride this horse.
Well, Manny, if you want a guy, a strong rider that ready to ride a horse for a half a mile,
gate to wire.
Manny Franco is Manny is the guy. I'm not knocking other riders, but I agree.
Right, I'm not indicting anybody else. I'm just saying that Manny, I think, figured out last time that you're going to earn your money on when you ride Identity Politics.
So,
and it was an excellent ride last time, and he should get better dynamics.
So legit. We'll take a look at legit winning last time out. And this race was 22 months ago. So don't miss that this race was in 2018.
22 months ago.
There has probably never been a trainer as impressive as Todd Pletcher coming off long, extended layoffs. His numbers are unbelievable.
Their touch won this last summer in Saratoga.
But I mean, yeah, we've seen some of them. Well, here's one year-plus layoff in. I think it's cutting back in distance. How about this? Turning back, he's 6 for 9.
You know how hard that is to do.
Turnbacks off 6-month layoffs, 27 for 71, 38%, 239 ROI. I don't care. I know Todd Pletcher has good horses.
Doesn't matter.
When he brings horses back off long layoffs, there's a reason he's able to bring them back.
Do you know how hard that is to do when a guy like Todd Pletcher, who's one of the best in the game, is going to run a horse long the first 2 starts in his career? And that's not done by happenstance. That's done for a reason.
But he did enter this horse at 1.1 miles.
He did run 8
and scratched him.
This horse
he scratched out that race.
That's the Patagonia race?
Patagonia one.
Okay, that was okay.
But it also was sloppy.
It was. And this was one of the
sloppy. And he may need a race, and he may be running being a race.
Off 2 years, you don't want to run your horse on a sloppy track. To run this horse pointedly in a 1 mile and 1/16 race, and now have the confidence to cut this horse back and run against
a nice horse. He could need a race.
Absolutely could. But if this horse comes back,
well, he's still got to improve.
But you're going to assume that at 5 years old, and for Todd to put all of this time
I think he's
into
going to end up being 9-2 or 4-1 in here, and so I don't mind taking a shot with him. I don't think that Hoffenheim's impossible. I mean, you know, Hoffenheim's got some awfully fast numbers to run to, and Jeremiah, believe it or not, his numbers off of layoffs aren't that bad in dirt sprints. Overall, he's 21% with a $2 ROI, and he may get lost in here. Don't kid yourself. He's got some fast races.
Yeah, I worry about this horse a little bit more with the layoff than I would with legit, and it's twice the time.
Legit is a 2-year layoff.
I got it.